in this next analysis is to build on Q2 and add small circles here to indicate what total purchases for each site was in 2012. And then we're going to do some formatting to this too. To accomplish this, we're going to need to use something called a dual axis graph, and dual axis graph combines two different measures into one graph. So we need two measures, one to indicate sales in 2012 and one in 2015. So we need to create two new purchases variables. So I'm going to right click and say create calculator field, and then this is simply going to say if, and then I'm going to use a year function. I'm going to use translate within here. If tr translate is equal to 2012, then we're going to take purchases. Else we're going to say null, and we're going to end that. So now we're creating a new column that contains purchases information if the year is 2012. And of course, if it's not a purchase, if it's a sale, purchases already contains a null value. So I'm only getting values in this row for transactions that are purchases and that are in 2012. Then I'm going to call this purchases 2012. And then I'm going to duplicate this one. Then I'm going to edit this. I'm going to change the name to 2015. Then I'm going to change the if statement to 2015. And then I'm done with this one too. Here, so I need to remove some of purchases here. And then I'm going to drag 2012. And I'm going to drag 2015. And I need to get rid of my filter here too. Then I'm going to do this as a quick table calculation, percent of total, and this one as a quick table calculation, percent of total. I then need to change how I'm calculating this. So I'm going to say specific, and I'm going to deselect tr site code. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the second sum of purchases. And then I'm going to go ahead and change, because we wanted 2012 to be circles, so this is that first one. So I'm going to go into 2012 here and change this to circle. And then the next step is I need to combine these two. So I'm going to go and do a dual axis graph, and I can do that simply by clicking here and say dual axis. I can also go up into show me and get this done. So then I need to change these back to bars. And now it looks really messy with all these labels. I'm going to remove these labels. I'm going to deselect show mark labels, and now it starts looking a little bit cleaner. And then notice that these circles here are not aligned perfectly. I probably want them a little bit bigger, so I'm going to click on here and I'm going to say size, and I'm going to increase the size a little bit there. Okay, so one problem I have right now is that these circles, I want them in front of the bars. So to do that, I just simply switch these two around, and now they're in front instead of behind the circles. I also don't want the dual axis to have different scales, so I need to say synchronize axis. And then since they're not synchronized, I'm going to remove one of these axes. So just right click and say deselect show header, and then I need to change this axis to say be called percent of total purchases per site, and this is not in 2015 only, so I don't want it to be saying 2015. And I need to change the header up here to percent of total purchases in 2015, and I'm going to say bars to indicate that those are the bars are the 2015 data and the 2012 data are the circles. So I'm trying to help the reader understand that. And to make it even easier to understand, I'm also going to label a couple of these data points. So I'm going to annotate them. So I'm going to right click there and say annotate, and I'm going to say mark, and then I'm going to say 2012 here. I'm going to move it, and I don't want this border around, so I'm going to say format, and then I'm going to say border none. And then I don't like how that is looking right now, so what I'm going to actually do here, I'm going to go into this again. I'm going to left align this instead. And I'm going to resize the box a little bit. And that looks better. And then I need to do the same thing for the 2015 bar. So annotate mark 2015, left align, format by removing the border, then simply move it over here. And they're a little close together here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this down a little bit, and then I'm going to try to make these two lines somewhat parallel, and then probably want these to be kind of aligned too. vertically. Something like that.